Losing teams complain. They cry to the cameras. They blame the referee. Then they go home. They do not usually file legal paperwork. But that is exactly what Egypt did the morning after. Less than one day after crashing out of the World Cup to Argentina, in the most controversial game of the whole tournament, the Egyptian Football Association did not just grumble. They picked up a pen. They wrote a formal complaint to FIFA. They asked for a full investigation, and they asked for something you almost never hear a country ask for. They asked FIFA to throw the referee and his whole team out of the rest of the World Cup. Stay with me, because this is not a sulk. This is a whole nation dragging the biggest sporting body on earth in front of its own court and saying out loud, in writing, that the game was not fair. And here is the part that should make FIFA sweat. There is no clean way out of this for them. None. Once you notice the trap they are in, you cannot unsee it. Let's get into it. The paper that should not exist. Start with what Egypt actually said, because the words are much heavier than normal post-game moaning. Their federation put out a statement. It said the association cannot stay silent about the refereeing and about what it called the failure to properly use the video assistant referee system, the tool most people just call VAR. It said several key moments in the match raised deep questions. Questions about how fair the calls were. Questions about whether the same rules were used for both teams. Then came the line that turned a complaint into a mission. Defending the national team's rights, they said, is not something that can be ignored, made small, or treated as second place. Their president, Hani Abarida, went even harder. He personally accused the French referee, François Latexier, of using a double standard. One set of rules for Egypt, a softer set for Argentina. He said this double standard is why Egypt lost. And he did not just ask for an investigation. He asked for the whole officiating crew to be removed from the tournament. Sit with that for a second. This is a federation president looking FIFA in the eye and saying, "Your referee cost us the World Cup. Now get him out." And here is why this lands so hard. Egypt are not standing alone with a wild story. They are standing in front of a wall of calm, respected voices who watched the very same game and said the very same thing. No budget for a conspiracy, no secret plan. Just a lot of experts, all pointing at the same handful of moments, the goal that vanished. Let me remind you what they are actually angry about, because it matters. Egypt were winning 1-0. Then Mostafa Ezeko finished off a beautiful move that ran almost the whole length of the field, 80 yards of passing, to make it 2-0. In that moment, Egypt were flying. 2 goals up, 11 minutes from the biggest result in their history. Then VAR went to work. The video rewound. Not a second or two. It rewound around 17 to 20 seconds, all the way back to the other end of the pitch. There it found a shirt tug and a stepped-on toe by Marwan Atia. A small tangle. A moment nobody in the stadium had even noticed. And the goal was gone. Deleted. 2-0 became 1-0 again. Picture how that feels. You have already celebrated. The net is already bulged, and a screen far away reaches back in time and takes it from you. Now hold that image, because the story gets worse. In stoppage time, with the score now level, Egypt screamed for a foul inside Argentina's box. A shirt pull on Hamdi Fati, a tangle involving the star, Mohamed Salah. Egypt wanted a penalty. A penalty then would likely have won them the match. VAR did not even suggest the referee take a look. Not a glance, nothing. Argentina broke straight up the other end, and they scored the winner. Think about the 2 moments together. One tiny tug far away was big enough to wipe out an Egyptian goal. Another tug, right in the box, was not even worth a second look. The math was always uneven. The calls always went one way. the wall of witnesses. Now here is why Egypt do not look crazy. Listen to who agreed with them. These are not Egyptian fans, these are neutral experts with no reason to lie. Rob Green, the former England goalkeeper, said on the American broadcast that the disallowed goal simply was not something VAR should have touched. The foul, he said, was a full length of the pitch away from the goal. Alan Shearer went straight to the heart of it. He wrote that either both moments are fouls or neither one is. You cannot call one and ignore the other. Ian Wright said the same thing in his own way. If you are going to pull play back to cancel a goal, he said, then you have to pull it back for the Salah moment too. Same rule, both times, or not at all. Jamie Carragher said that in any big European league, that Egyptian goal stands. Even after a video review, it stands. And it was not only the English voices, German referees weighed in too. Patrick Ittrich looked at the late penalty appeal and said, plainly, for him that is a penalty. He added that all the close calls in the match went against Egypt. Every single one. Stop and count the voices. A former England keeper, a record-breaking striker, a World Cup legend, a famous pundit, a German match official, different countries, different jobs, no shared team. And they all point at the same 2 or 3 moments. When that many people with no dog in the fight all say the same thing, a federation stops looking angry and starts looking like it has a case, a real one. But here is where it gets bigger than one match. Because Egypt's complaint did not land on an empty desk, the desk already buried, Egypt's letter landed on a desk that was already covered in other letters. This has become the most complained about World Cup that anyone can remember. And Egypt are not the only country holding a pen. Belgium filed a complaint over a red card that got reversed against them. Ecuador filed one after Mexican fans surrounded their hotel the night before a match, blasting horns and setting off fireworks, keeping the players awake. Ecuador said it clashed with the whole idea of fair play. Iran filed a protest too, over harsh travel rules that dragged their squad back and forth across the border before and after every group game. 4 different nations. 4 different problems. All pointing at the same governing body. Inside one single tournament. That is not bad luck. Bad luck does not repeat itself 4 times in 4 weeks. That is a pattern. And the federations have started to notice they are not the only ones writing letters. They are talking. They are watching each other. And a shared feeling is spreading through the tournament, quiet but growing. The word they keep circling is not fair. Some of them are using a heavier word than that. Rigged. Egypt's own coach, Hossam Hassan, set the tone the second the whistle blew. He said the match was rigged and the whole world saw it. He hinted that FIFA simply wanted the Argentina star kept in the tournament, that the biggest name had to be protected. His forward, Iziko, was even blunter. The tournament, he said, is rigged. He accused the referee of throwing away the work of a whole nation. Now, you do not have to believe a single word of that. Maybe it is just heartbreak talking. But here is the thing. Whether or not the conspiracy is real, the accusation itself is now the crisis. Because FIFA has to answer it. And under all of this sits the one scandal that cracked the tournament open in the first place. The one that turned every later complaint from noise into something people were ready to believe. The phone call. Here is the moment that broke the trust. Earlier in the tournament, a player was suspended by a red card, a normal punishment. Then, according to widespread reports, the President of the United States personally phoned FIFA, and soon after, that suspension was quietly paused, using a rule that had never before been used at a World Cup. A rule pulled out of a drawer for the very first time, right when a powerful man made a call. That one decision blew a hole in FIFA's credibility, a crater, and every controversy since has fallen straight into it. Think about what that did to people's minds. If the rules can bend for one phone call, then maybe they can bend for anything. Maybe a goal can vanish. Maybe a penalty can be ignored. Suddenly, every strange call looks less like a mistake and more like a choice. So, when Egypt say the game was fixed, they are not shouting into an empty room. They are the loudest voice in a chorus that has been growing louder all tournament. And that is the danger. FIFA is not fighting one angry team. It is fighting a feeling. A suspicion that has spread from country to country until it feels almost normal to say out loud. You cannot ignore a formal complaint from a member nation. You cannot just throw the letter in a drawer. So FIFA did respond. And their response told you everything about the box they are trapped in. But first you need to understand exactly what FIFA had to choose between. Because the moment they picked up their own pen to reply, they walked into a trap with no clean exit. The door slams. FIFA's top refereeing boss, Pierluigi Collina, broke his silence with a statement. And here is the part that matters. He did not open an investigation. He did not say he was worried. He did not promise to look into anything at all. He came out swinging, defending his referees before any real review had even started. He said, unfounded accusations have no place in the sport. He said nobody can question the honesty of the World Cup officials. He warned that these kinds of accusations can lead to threats against referees and their families. And then he went further. He said FIFA refereeing cannot be influenced by anyone, not even, he said, by the FIFA president himself. Then he defended both moments one by one. On the disallowed goal, he explained that under the rules, when a team is attacking, there is no time limit and no distance limit on how far back VAR can go to find a foul in the build-up. He said Attia clearly stepped on the opponent's foot, so the call was correct. On the Salah moment, he said it was just normal football contact, nothing to see. Read that back slowly. Egypt asked for an investigation. FIFA's answer within a single day was to publicly rule that its referees did nothing wrong and that questioning them is basically out of bounds. That is not the sound of a body planning to look at itself honestly. That is the sound of a door slamming shut. And there is a small, telling crack inside Collina's own words. He began by saying that during a tournament, FIFA prefers not to focus on single incidents. Then, he spent the rest of his statement focusing on two single incidents, walking through the Attia foul and the Salah contact frame by frame, explaining why the referee was right both times. You do not refuse to comment on the cases and then argue both cases, unless the goal was never to be neutral. He told everyone he would not referee it again. Then he re-refereed it, in Argentina's favor, in a press release. Here is what I want you to sit with. Collina is not fully wrong. By the cold letter of the law, he has a case. Stepping on a foot is a foul. The rulebook really does not set a limit on how far back VAR can go. The Salah tangle really could be called normal contact. Even the German referee who wanted the late penalty also admitted the VAR steps themselves were followed correctly. And Collina's point about threats to officials and their families is real and important. Referees are human. The abuse they get online is vile. None of this excuses any of that. There is a version of this where FIFA did nothing evil at all, where they just used a messy rulebook in a messy way. That is a very different crime from fixing a match. And it must be said plainly, Egypt were 2 goals up with 11 minutes left, and they did not hold on. No referee made their defender lose his man. No referee made the winning shot fly in. Part of this, Egypt did to themselves. But that is not the trap. The trap is this. Whatever FIFA does next, it loses. The empty team sheet. Follow the logic with me, because this is the whole reason the story matters more than one lost goal. If FIFA clears the officials, which Collina has basically already done, then it looks exactly like the cover-up everyone expects. Especially from the same body that bent its own rules for a phone call just days earlier. Nobody believes the line that the referees are fully independent. that not even the president can touch them because FIFA spent this whole tournament proving the opposite. So a clean bill of health convinces no one. It only confirms every suspicion. But now flip it around. If FIFA sides with Egypt and quietly drops the referee and his crew from the rest of the tournament, that is almost an admission. An admission that the officiating was wrong. And if the officiating was wrong, then Argentina moved on thanks to bad calls. And every rigged accusation just got an official stamp on it. FIFA would be confessing, without saying a word, that a World Cup quarterfinalist got there on decisions its own body could not defend. There is no third door. There is no answer that rebuilds the trust, because the trust is already gone. And watch how. It actually plays out because this is the real tell. FIFA reviews its referees after every single match, but it almost never says a word about it in public. The officials for the next round get named just a day or two before kickoff. So here's what to look for. If Letexier's name simply does not appear for any match in the quarterfinals, the semis, the third place game, or the final, then you will have your answer. And FIFA will never say it out loud. A silent disappearance. That is how a body admits fault without ever admitting fault. Meanwhile, FIFA keeps handing its critics more ammunition. For one big quarterfinal, it named a full crew of Argentine officials in the very same week it is being accused of favoring Argentina. You could not write it. It is the kind of decision that makes even people who hate conspiracies tilt their head and ask what anyone is thinking. And here is where it leaves everyone. Egypt fly home with the best World Cup of their history, their first ever run this deep, and a burning belief that the biggest result they ever chased was taken from them by a screen and a rulebook used one way for them and another way for the champions. Understand what that means for a country like this. A football-mad nation. 7-time champions of Africa, a team that spent decade after decade turning up at World Cups and going home with nothing. This was supposed to be the tournament that finally changed that story. A first ever quarterfinal, 11 minutes away. To lose it like this, not beaten by a better team on the day, but undone in a way half the planet found suspicious, is a special and lasting kind of heartbreak. That is the wound the complaint is really about. Argentina march on, chasing back-to-back World Cups, one captain crying tears of relief while a whole nation cries tears of injustice. And FIFA sits in the middle, holding a letter it cannot answer honestly. Because every honest answer blames either its referees or itself. That is the honest place this story ends. Not with a solution. Not with a defeat. With a formal complaint on a desk, a governing body cornered, and a team sheet nobody has seen yet. So, here is what I want to know. Do you think FIFA quietly benches this referee and hopes we do not notice? Or do you think they dig in, clear everyone, and dare the world to prove them wrong? Tell me in the comments. I read them, and the sharpest calls often come from you. And if you believe the real story is written not in the statements, but in who is missing from that next team sheet, subscribe and tap the bell. Because when those quarterfinal officials get announced, we are going to be watching that list very, very closely. And I have a feeling the next name that vanishes will tell us more than any press release ever could.